All right, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Who's 74. We back with another amazing chapter this week. Well, hoping it's going to be an amazing chapter of One Piece. We got chapter 1145. I'm gonna be a buck. Last week I wasn't that interested in the chapter. Not a lot went on. I mean, yeah, they had the little fighting and shit here and there, but I'm sick. But they had a lot of fighting and shit going on. But other than that, it wasn't really an interesting chapter, bro. It didn't keep me entertained. The most exciting thing that happened on that chapter was Dory and Bragi popping off, and that was towards the end. I be good. As soon as I get on here to talk to y'all last, I start talking like I'm congested. Like that shit. I'm getting congested as I speak. I'm constantly having to clear my throat. I be talking all day. This shit don't happen until I get on here. You know what? I just had to go get one of my throat soothing halls. Yeah, we gonna smoke while sucking on the hall today, 'cause I be tired of this shit. Got me sounding like I talk with my motherfucking tongue at the roof of my motherfucking mouth or some shit. All right, so this week, tired of this bullshit, and then you pop right back up. My fault, y'all. I'm fighting with these ads. Bro, I don't care. You was not finna force me to make you stay right here on the side of my screen. So this the only site this shit out on right now. But yeah, last week wasn't that interesting, bro. Look forward to see what's gonna be on this one. The best thing that happened last week was when Dory and Bragi popped off and they finally popped their shit. But without any further ado, we're gonna hop into it. So we starting off with the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, volume number 30. Pei is still alive, so um Page One still alive after Who's Who and the remainder of the Beast Pirates beat the dog shit out of him. Had Uati tied up to a spinning wheel throwing blades at her dumb ass. And Yamato came in that bitch and gave us the long awaited Thunderbogger and knocked Who's Who off his shit. That man been a minute since I found out he was still there. He been torturing the hell out of people. So we get a spread of we got Uti, Page One, and Yamato in the spread. Yamato standing up with her back turned. Her Kanabo is on her back and she holding the sword over her shoulder like that. And we see front face image of Uti crying while holding damn near dead but still alive Page One in her arms, and she holding him tight, crying. You know, she happy he's still alive. Right. All right, so we're gonna flame up the blunt while we flame up. It looks like Sanji and Zoro finally doing some shit. Damn, the Straw Hats finally doing some shit. Hit the blunt one time for the Straw Hats finally doing some shit. They ain't did shit. What I say last chapter, bro, Nico Robin got the perfect fucking powers to stop them damn kids. Her and Jinbei, actually. If the kids walking towards the fire, Jinbei can use his water to put the damn fire out. Robin got the perfect hands to stop these kids from, goddamn it, walking any further. You feel me? She can bring hands out the ground and grab their fucking ankles or grab their feet or some shit. All right, so we see the giant dragon drain tier that Dorian Broggy just chopped down. No, that's not a dragon. That's a dinosaur now. And that's not Dorian Broggy. That's somebody with a shield. And he says there's a giant with a shield fighting a dinosaur. And it says they're fighting in the realm of the dead too. And it looks like the giant with the shield that's fighting a dinosaur. The shield looks like it's actually a homie. Like Nami Zeus Cloud. So yeah, that shield is definitely a homie. I ain't finna keep fighting with this ad. Yeah, so folks shield is a homie. And he said, "Here it comes, Nash." So I guess that's the giant's name, Nash. No, Nash is the shield. He said, "Here it comes, Nash." And the shield says, "What?" And then the shield gets bigger. The shield gets bigger and it takes on a full grunt of the dinosaurs attack. The dinosaur tried to bite it. And then we see Sanji with a Arman Delaire as he flings his feet and kicks Zoro, launching him towards the damn dinosaur. And Zoro looks like he just get that motherfucker Onigiri and just chopped his neck off. One moment. So like I was saying, it's about time Zoro and Sanji finally did some shit, but they chopped the giant dinosaur down for the giant with the homie. So nice little team up move from Zoro and Sanji. We should be seeing shit like this a lot more often, in my opinion. Like they the number one and two, they the number two and three of the motherfucking Straw Hat crew. I mean, who's better between them? Been a debate. They arch rivals. We should get a lot more team ups with them a lot more often than what we do. I want to say Sanji and Zoro teamed up what all of three times throughout the series. Just now when they was fighting King and Queen, and then back when they was on that island playing that game with those giants when they was playing that whatever type of game they was playing when they had to work together. Those are the only three times that I can recall of in the series that has fucking over 1,000 episodes and over 1,000 chapters that these two motherfuckers work together. If I'm wrong, y'all let me know other. So now we got Zoro, Sanji, and the motherfucking giant. They sitting there looking at the dead body of the dream tier dinosaur, and he says this thing looks edible. I think Zoro said that. It's big, even by giant standards. Yeah, I think that's Sanji saying that. Who got the black cloak? Okay, that's Sanji. Sanji saying this thing looks edible, is big even by a giant standard. And then the giant with the homie shield says Grogosaurus is super tasty. They've got a thick layer of fat under their skin, so prep takes a while. It simmers it, but he say prep. Okay, Grogosaurus is super tasty. They've got a thick layer of fat under the skin, so prep takes a while. But it summers and boos, and it's fantastic. Okay, so that's not a dream tier dinosaur. They still in hell, and they just off the real dinosaur, I guess, to get meat for Loki to eat. Sanji said we didn't bring any alcohol though. Hit blunt for that dinosaur. They just took that man life. Sanji, and then the giant with the homie shield says the hunter's cabin is stocked with all the cooking tools we'll need. Let's grab the herbs on the way back. And then Zoro says, never mind that. What is this thing? Is it a devil fruit? Is a devil fruit responsible? And then the giant says it came to life after my old man clashed with Big Mom. And Zoro responds, Big Mom. He also says, so it's like Zeus, huh? And then the giant says, what? You know Zeus? He's a high ranking homie. And then Sanji says, yeah, no, that's Zoro. He said, yeah, he's our navigator's lackey now. And then the giant guy says, what? I guess he's shocked because, Zeus was one of Big Mom's main homies, you feel me? We all know Zeus. Zeus has been a valuable asset to Nami. I ain't gonna lie. That's one of the best things she got in her kid. What the best thing she got in her kid. So then we cut over to the God's Knights. So we cut over to we still in hell, it looks like technically. So we go back to where Loki and Luffy and Hydrogen and them is at. And somebody is screaming out like God's Knights, and yeah, that's right. They came here, so they letting them know finally the God's Knights here. They calling them by name. I guess Loki the one telling them, and we see um the fucking Lego castle guy, the giant guy. I keep forgetting his name. And he's like government. No, he's not saying that. Hydrogen is asking. He like government officials. You're saying they did this to you, and then Loki says you got it. Hydrogen then says all your rampaging overseas must have made some enemies. Loki then says, "Don't be stupid." Loki says, "I'd already be king of the world if I had gone far enough to cross paths with guys like that." And then Luffy says, "World government knights." And Hydrogen says, "No, the giant with the homie shield, he comes back with Zoro and Sanji. He comes back with Zoro and Sanji, and they like, hey, I got one. But they got the dinosaur. He holding the dinosaur over his head. And Luffy says it's huge. And then the giant guy says Grogosaurus are super nutritious. Zoro says I took it down. Sanji says it was incredible. You look like a head of broccoli sailing gloriously across the air. Hell no. And then the giant with the homie shield says, did you collect the firewood? And another giant shows up and says, yeah, it's right here. Good work out there. So they clearly, obviously getting ready to eat so they can help Loki heal. And if Loki is like everybody's speculating anything like Luffy, then that food is gonna get him right back to 100%, even though um the nurse Gerd was talking about was the nurse Gerd was talking about 7 months to recover. That's about what she said. I'll just say 4 to 7 months. So then it looks like they got the fire going. Somebody says, all right, it's ready. You see the smoke going through the air. Somebody else says that first serving wasn't meant for you. Okay, so I guess Luffy he grabbed some meat first because I could just tell. All you see was the bubble dialogues of somebody saying so good that first serving wasn't meant for you. And then the person who says so good says, oh right. So then we see the actual cover spread of Luffy with a giant piece of meat on a stick, a giant stick, and he's saying, eat up, Loki. And he just slammed the giant meat right on top of Loki's face. Loki starts screaming, it's hot. It's too hot. Gerd says, take it easy, Luffy. Luffy can you reopen his wounds. So Luffy's an idiot. as usual. Just slammed that giant hot ass piece of meat on that man's face. And then Loki then screams at Luffy, "Moron, are you trying to kill me?" And then Luffy says, "Wow, you're better already." He says, "Chow down, you won't heal if you don't eat." Loki says, it's hard to swallow. How am I meant to eat lying down?" Somebody says, "You sure are pushy." I think that was Luffy. Luffy then runs off and says, "Oh no, he's choking. Pass me the soup. Give me a second." Luffy comes running back with a giant cup of soup over his head. And as he's running back with it, he's screaming, "Hot, hot, hot, hot." Loki then says, "It's clearly boiling. Stay away from me." Hey, Luffy is an idiot, bro. Loki is terrified. So Luffy runs, and I guess all you see is steam going in the air, and you see splash and a bubble of somebody screaming, "Ah!" So we can only assume Luffy did the dummy, and he spilled the hot soup, the boiling hot soup on Loki. Luffy trying to kill this man. Hit the blunt for Loki. Gerd says he's got even more burns. Loki screams, "Get him the hell away from me." L- Gerd then says, "Luffy kun." Luffy says, "My bad, I didn't mean to." Gerd winks at Luffy and give him a thumbs up because I guess she don't like Loki. Cause she don't like him. And then Sanji asks what he do to piss the giants off this much. Zoro says, "I bet his promise to Luffy was just a trick." Then Loki said, "Red hair's whereabout, huh? I'm afraid I wasn't lying about that." And then Zoro says, "Is that so? You gonna spit it out there?" And then Loki says, "The deal was that you free me from these chains first. You really want to see red hair that bad, huh? Well, I guess I can understand. That's what happens when you look up to a pirate in your youth." Luffy says, "You know the feeling?" And then Loki is like, "Yeah, I do." Loki then says, "You regret that you were just a kid." So we getting the flashback. All right, let's switch the view so y'all can see this flashback with me. So Loki's saying he do know where Shanks at. He wasn't lying about that. But he's saying the deal was a deal. Y'all said y'all was gonna free me from the shackles completely, not leave one on me. So until then, no deal. Playing it smart. So getting into the flashback, we see Loki talking to the silhouette of what clearly is Zebek. "Take me with you. I didn't come all this way to take a brat like you. Don't make me repeat myself." That's what Zebek responded to Loki as Loki screams, "Take me with you." Loki says, "I challenge you." Loki says, "Then I challenge you." Zebek goes, "What?" And then we see what clearly is a silhouette of Whitebeard because he's giant as fuck with the mustache. He says, "You seriously pulled the blade on the kid." So yeah, we got Loki laying on the floor with a blade, look like in his arm, back, chest, one of them. And then yeah, that's Whitebeard because Zebek then says, "Shut it, Newgate." Loki says, "I was born in the wrong era." So we cut back to Dory and Bragi. These joggers move like trained warriors. And then that's what Dory says. Bragi says, "There's plenty of ghosts too. How childish." Round them up. So they still fighting these damn drain monsters. One of them see a giant drain monster with a hammer running towards him. He says, "Is that Loki?" Then we see Leave It to Me. What I'm assuming that's Scopper Gabon, because he was the only human-sized person on that pirate fight on that pirate ship that Dorian Bragi was on. I forget what the name of their boat is, Elric or something like that. The Great Elric. So he jumps up. Yeah, it is Gabon. We see it in the next image here. Gabon jumps up, spinning his axis, and he cuts right through the fake Loki. He said, good thing these things are just how these kids imagine them. So they'd be tougher to beat if they were familiar with the real versions, huh? That's the last thing we need. So what they implying is that if the kids knew who the real Loki was, or if they even had the slightest idea of the real Loki and what he was capable of, then those things would have been way more vicious and powerful and strong. These kids just those things that they're imagining are just fairy tales to them. They hear about it but never heard about it. They hear about it but never seen them. So Gabon says, just as I thought, there's more now. Three of them. Voices. That's strange. Can't be suppressed. I can hear them. If Elbaf is no longer safe, the world really is ending. So we see the fire unit still trying to put out the fires. Use the water from the sea clouds. Is that going to work? The flames are massive. They got three water cannons on this fire and it ain't doing nothing. I don't know what's going on here, y'all. This the ads, not me. Thank goodness. You firefighters are here. So Saul happy that the firefighters still trying to put out the fire, but it ain't working. And it looks like Saul just took down the motherfucking Fenrir too. So Saul says, thank goodness you firefighters are here, but you need to hurry. The kids are heading straight for the flames. Hit blunt. The fighter says we're using the highest pressure water the valve can handle. It ain't doing no good. Saul then screams, you gotta. Hold on, y'all gotta fix this shit. So Saul screams, you gotta put it out. Because they like, this the highest we could do with the water pressure, bro. And fire ain't budging. Saul like, you gotta put it out. Y'all can do it. I mean, they can't make it shoot out no harder than what it's already doing. It ain't like they using powers to do it, Saul. But this is why it would be fucking great if Jimbei was up there. You feel me, young bro? What the fuck is he? Was he down there with Luffy and them? I don't think he was down there with Luffy and them. Where the fuck Jimbei at, bro? And Saul still screaming, put it out, I'm begging you. So we cut back to the Holy Knights. One of them says, look, Gunko, these kids are about to burn alive. Would that be enough to wake them up? Gunko then says, yes, they'll wake up from the heat screaming for their parents in terror. Then the flames will burn them down into bone. You bitches are sick. Hit blunt. They some sick motherfuckers. Hold on, y'all gotta hit blunt again. That bitch one lit. There we go. Somebody says, man, ain't that just touching? That gotta be Summers with that sick ass sense of humor. So we see somebody say sea cloud. Is something wrong, fighter fighters? It's not out yet. We're we're doing all we can. Saul's running saying it ain't working. Kids, no. They literally stepping into the flames. So whoever the fuck was screaming, okay, finally, I see that's Jimbei. I see what's going on. I know that move. The way he's swirling up the water, he doing it like this, you could tell. And that's how Jimbei do it, his shit. So I was talking shit and he came. Current shoulder throw. And he launches a bunch of water at the fire and he says that should do it. Did I make it in time? And the fighter fire says, over here, hop on top. Nami says, that's sorry, Jimbei. And then Brooke says, you gave me chills. So we going over, okay, so yeah, they was going over there to help. That's why they was on their way. Okay, my fault, Jimbei. I forget y'all had got on the boat with Colin and did y'all own little shit because they was telling y'all not to help at first. But they better keep that little boy safe. Because I remember I said they could have just hijacked this boat. So all the giants are shocked how Jinbei just came and put that fire out with the quickness. The blaze in branch 8's forest number 2 has been extinguished. The children are all right. The kids just missed the flame, but they're still marching. A close call. Okay, so now we see Dory, Bragi, and one of the other giants saying a close call always had fake. Good job, fighter fires. Fuck the fighter fires. They didn't do shit. Jimbei did that shit. Hit blunt. Stop playing with my boy. Fighter fires ain't do shit. This all we can do. Oh no. Somebody says, here's to the guardians of Elbaf. No, it wasn't us. Glad the tights are okay though. Yeah, let them know it wasn't y'all. Y'all was fucking useless. Robin. And then we see Chopper and Robin. Chopper saying Robin just now wasn't that duh. And then Robin says Jinbei, he's just nearby. Colin says that was cool. Jinbei's so freaking cool. Somebody else on the boat says good one, Jinbei. Jinbei says it was nothing. Somebody says the guys at the school may hate me, but I still consider them my friends. Okay, that's what Colin said. Nami says, it'll be okay, Colin. We'll save them all. Colin says, yeah. So then we see out the fucking blue Gunko standing on top of their ship says, so not all the children were in school. Colin then looks up like, who is that? Everybody is in shock. Everybody as far as Nami, Usopp, Brook, and Jinbei. Gunko then says, this one sure seems lively. A direct confrontation is a read we get in a corner as the chapter ends and we get a fucking break next week. One Piece can't release 2 chapters in a row without going on a break the next week. Anytime you get 2 chapters in a row for One Piece, that third week you're going on a break. Do better. Okay, so let's talk about it. It was a good chapter. I ain't gonna lie. Some shit happened. People showed up. It's like, okay, as far as the confrontation in Elbaf goes, we definitely just we're getting into the rise in action. You feel me? We almost at the climax, but we still like at the peak of the rise in action. You feel me, on bro? So if this is the climax right here before it goes down, you feel me? We in a rise in action. We like right here in a rise in action. When all the holy knights get into their fades, that's when we gonna be at the peak of the climax. You feel me? And then we gonna get into the fall in action as all the fighting goes on. I'm curious to see who out this bunch is gonna handle Gunko. I mean, outside her look. Arrows, it really ain't nothing special about her. She a fighter. She could just fight. Jinbei can really do his thing, but she don't chose the wrong match to go up against because Brooke is here and she's a fucking Brooke fan. She likes his music. I don't think she knows that's him because you feel me. Most of Brooke's songs come from when he used to be alive. You feel me, but yeah, she's a huge fan of his music. So once she find out who that is, once he start playing his music with his attacks and shit, Brooke alone could beat Gunko. I'm positive Brooke alone could beat Gunko. Y'all, people sleep on Brooke and forget how cold Brooke actually is, bro. Like that man ran through the Big Mom castle alone and got a scrubbing of the poneglyphs and squared up with damn near everybody in his path and got through their ass. You feel me? Even Big Mom herself. Yeah, Brooke ain't nothing to be slept on, bro. I'm sorry, Brooke is cold. But yeah, Jim Bay and Brooke alone is enough. But Usopp got to pop his shit somewhere in here. Brooke, Usopp most likely gonna fight Summers. Usopp gonna have something to do with fighting and taking down Saint Summers with that throwing fruit, and then Usopp, you feel me, with all his vegetation and you feel me, um, slingshot shit, you feel me, yeah. And then this is Elbaf, bro. This is where Usopp trained. You feel me? During that time skip, bro. This is Usopp's arc, bro. This is Usopp's dream. He always wanted to get here with the land of warriors. We've been paying attention to Usopp this whole time. He been drunk out his fucking mind. Usopp has not been himself. You feel me? Everything been getting to him. He's excited. You feel me? Dorian Bragi there, his masters. He want to prove himself worthy to them. Bro, Usopp is gonna pop his shit in Elbaf. Mark my words. And we gonna end it with that. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.